Welcome back to Ribs Real Estate and Rambling. Today I have got Hunter Shurtleff, who I'm sure a lot of y'all know. But we're coming in here. We're at Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue here in College Station, right off of Bypass, and we're going to kind of get into it. So I'm going to start. So for those who don't know, Hunter is a lawyer here in town, and you can do the horse.
A cool one.
He's a cool lawyer.
Yeah.
Very well. But what you do as a lawyer, like your scope of work is incredibly broad. So can you kind of hit? You're civil, right? Civil litigation.
I
is
do.
That correct?
That's right.
Would you hit the kind of the big major fields that you do?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, right? So, but people don't know. So I'm a civil trial lawyer. So what I do is, if there's any civil dispute, and that can be a broad range of anything, right? When people are mad enough that we're going to send out some hate mail, and we're going to go down to the courthouse and we're going to file a petition and let the judge or jury decide. That's what I do, and that can range from personal injury cases to real estate disputes, business disputes, oil and gas disputes. You know, anything that is kind of confined to that civil docket, right? Okay. Now, through the years, I moved back to A&M or Bryan College Station in 2004.
You were down in Houston, correct?
I was.
Right.
Did my time down there. And so I moved back here, and then, so through the years I picked up doing the litigation work, I picked up a lot of business clients. I do some just kind of general business work, you know. Okay. Roy calls me, hey, I need a contract, or can you look over this agreement for me?
So in the Wild West landscape of what is now college sports, right?
Right.
And we now have name, image, likeness. Everybody probably knows it as NIL if you pay attention to sports. You were really a trailblazer. Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so how are you the dude in Texas?
Okay.
Because, Hunter is the dude.
I'll back you up. So back in the early 2000s, Brandon Jones and his partner take over Texas Aggies, okay? So through the years, now I've gotten that relationship going.
Takeover.
Yeah. So and do some legal work for them. Obviously, we do the fan show for years, you know, so been involved with them. So NIL comes down the pipe, and nobody knew anything about it, what was going on. And so they called me and they said, look, we have some athletes that we're about to, sign. We want to go in business with these guys. And it started on July 1st of, 21. So on that day, we created, and I think we signed the first NIL contract in Texas that day.
And that was the stuff that Texas Aggies is doing there in the studio, correct?
Right.
Like when they bring that. Okay.
Right. It was part of their endorsement deal or their NIL deal, where it was some promotional things that they were actively involved in, and also doing the interviews.
And really having to navigate what really seemed like a lack of guidance from the NCAA. But I feel like a lack of guidance from the NCAA is a pretty common term.
Yeah. There was no go by. Sometimes you say, hey, I need this, and you'll say, okay, I think I got an old one that I did. And I come to look. This was from scratch. It was pretty exciting.
All right, so I'm going to get away from law a little bit, because if anybody's still listening, we'll talk about things that aren't legal,
sure.
Right?
Sure.
Even though you are the cool lawyer, right? And again, I love. You invited me. It was great New Year's Eve to your wedding. Your beautiful wife, Marka, who I'm going to have on separately because she's way more interesting than you.
Way more, yeah.
But what is it like to work? And I feel like in a legal setting it's a little different. But what's it like to work with your wife on a daily basis, like in a very professional set? Well, as professional as your setting is, I don't know.
Right.
You guys might have a foosball table. I don't know.
It's been good, actually. Mm-hmm. I think there were some concerns about it. Now we still have different shingles, different practices, because her practice is much different than mine. But work in the same office, and now she's in politics and she's on city council, and we've kind of went hand in hand there, and it's been better than I can imagine. Yeah, it's been really good.
Well, and Margaret, she's so
and
sweet.
she is way more intelligent than I am, so it's good to bounce ideas off her.
I hate to tell you, I think she's funnier than you are too.
No, there's no doubt.
But you set a bar pretty high, so
yeah.
She's hilarious. Speaking of that, though, you are quite the jet setter. So this guy always, if you ever want to know where he is, hop on his Facebook or social media. Chances are he's somewhere out west wearing a cowboy hat. But of the last few trips that you've taken, because I know that you and Mark are going to have I've had kind of the opportunity to be able to do that. Probably what's your favorite one? Because I know you love out west in the mountains.
We do. And I wear the cowboy hat. I'm more of a plowboy than a cowboy, but it's the John Deere, not a.
But that's not his only hat. He wears a hat around town too. Yeah. No.
So we really like Colorado, and specifically Ouray, Colorado. I mean, you're sitting at 9,000 feet, but we're bouncing around in the mountains at 13,000, 14,000 feet.
Are you priming the pump to retire there, or are you going to stay in Texas?
That would be nice. It's a small little area. I don't know. I would go there. If you told me we got you a spot and we're gonna practice law part time in Ouray, I'd be there.
All right,
absolutely.
I'll reach out to my.
I shouldn't say that because I don't want anybody else to. It's one of those places like it's too crowded now. You don't want anybody to go, but no, it's a great place.
So one thing that maybe I don't know if everybody knows about you. So everybody's got hobbies, right? What's the professional hobby? The two professional hobbies everybody knows. It's golfing and it's clay shooting. That's pretty in Texas. Depending on almost which industry you're dealing with, kind of tells you if your company's going to do a golf scramble or you guys going to go on a clay shoot.
Right.
So this dude is like semi-world class clay shooting, and you don't have to be humble about it.
No doubt.
It's like the scores rate that, and you put on a clay shoot every year.
Yes.
And so my thing is, if you didn't do clay shooting, what would be your main professional hobby? It doesn't have to be golf. I don't know that you necessarily strike me as a golfer. But
and I used to be. I was just bad at it. Yeah.
Well, everybody's like 98% of golfers.
I know. I don't know why you do it. What would be my hobby? I think I could do something like it would probably be like horses or quarter horses and roping or something like that. I like that. Right. I like that.
All right.
Another not cheap sport, sounds like. Yeah.
You know what? None of them are cheap anymore.
Me and Taylor Sheridan, we're just going to go hang out with some cutting horses. And
bowling is expensive, okay? And if bowling is expensive, everything is expensive.
I agree.
So I'm going to bring it back to legal. You are the general counsel for Chilifest, and you have been for how long?
Wow. 20 this was year 23, so yeah.
23 years.
Yeah.
And for those of y'all that don't know what Chilifest is, it occurs a little bit outside of Bryan College Station, just west in a town called Snook, which is actually where Slovakic sausage comes from, which is fantastic.
Very good.
Just a random plug for Slovakic because I like them so much. They also do deer processing. What's it like to have to? Because Chilifest is it's this big weekend. It's like Woodstock with chili, and it's in like southeast central Texas, kind of. That's what Chilifest is, if you don't know. And there's all the shenanigans with it, And so, what's it like to be general counsel for Chilifest? Do you wear a hard hat? Like, do you go in waders?
Probably should have more protective equipment.
It's an evolving.
Yeah, it's a college beer bash in a cow pasture. I mean, let's just cut it down to the basics here. So it's been good. People always ask me they're going out there and they're like, "Hey, can you get me out of that ticket? You're the Chilifest attorney." I was like, "That's not how it works, right?" So I'm behind the scenes on that one. We're doing the entertainer contracts and the working with law enforcement and the sponsors.
You're not the JP out there handing out sentences and tickets.
No. But what's cool about that event, and it started even before me, 30-something years now, is the old, the volunteers and the people involved like me, and some of the old chairmen who are on the board, and all these Burleson County people, right? They've done it for so long that they have ownership in it, right? And I mean, they work hard and they love it, and that money's turned around and given to their Burleson County charities and our Bryan College Station charities, and it's really cool.
And that's probably what's interesting because for years I went to Chilifest in the late '90s a couple times. I think
Live to tell.
Fairly remember it at least once. That's one of those things where which is such a rager. It's so out of control. And then we were able, and what you say, they were able to rein it in and really kind of do some good with it. And while it's still completely insane, but that's kind of the idea behind it, right? Just a big old country music, chili beer, slop fest.
When I got involved, it had a bad rep, and there's no doubt. Because it started out as a fraternity event, and then they pretty much got kicked out of Brazos County, ended up in Brazos County, and still there was the trash and some drinking issues and stuff, but it, you know.
Some drinking issues.
It became a nonprofit corporation, which really helped. Got some marketing folks involved, worked on the trash, worked on the transportation.
Well, like you're saying, you got staying power and people with buy-in at this point.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, that's in literally any industry. When you have people that truly have buy-in, you're always going to get a better product. Okay, so one question, because you have been, you're a donor, 12-Man Foundation, obviously. You have your own tailgate, right?
Yeah.
416, right?
20 years, yeah.
20 years of hosting his own tailgate. And this isn't just like he's got a grill or he has it catered. This guy has a menu set out for the season. There's always a weekend with big old steaks. I know, it's with bacon rack duck, right?
Absolutely.
You do duck sometimes. Big old pop-up, almost like a circus tent out there by Reed. What is that, the northeast corner of Reed?
It is.
So the closest corner of Reed to Kyle. And
moving to Aggie Park this year, but go ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
Very nice. Well, I don't know how that whole setup is working, so I don't know if
it's
that's
sweet
easier
over
or
there.
harder. It's better. Well, and Aggie Park is I think that's going to be so great for game day. But of all the years of sports you've watched, and we Aggies are just, it's killing us, right? It's just killing us. At some point, something's got to break through. What do you think right now is Prime the best? And I think I know the answer to this. Is Prime the best to win the national championship next in men's sports?
Men's sports. I'm going to say baseball, because I think Slosh knows what he's doing. He hasn't won it, but he's been there.
Plenty with TCU.
Right, and gets us there the first year with kind of a put-together team of some leftovers.
Expectations through the roof for the next year, when reality should have been a little bit.
But hey, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm still a Jimbo guy. I think Jimbo Fisher's a good coach. I think we're loaded. He's recruited better than anybody has since Jackie and RC.
No, absolutely.
I'm fired up. I am not. Yeah, last year sucked. I'm not down on this team or this program though at all.
What about women's sports? Who's primed to win a national championship?
Okay. Not that I keep up that great with it, but I'm going to say I'm going to go golf, and then I'll put basketball too. I think basketball's still okay. The problem with basketball, you just got those dynasties, those real powerhouses in women's basketball. It's hard to unseat those folks.
Right. So I'm going to go with I'm actually going to cheat and pick two, because I think both of them are on an incredible trajectory. Soccer, just because Coach G's just developed and maintained such a strong program.
Right.
I think softball. I'm really looking forward to Tricia Ford.
That'd be fun.
Big time on Aggie softball. I love watching softball. So that's kind of all I got for now. I appreciate you coming out for lunch. The last question I got before we kind of close up, like a dignitary's coming in town, Governor of Texas, President of the United States, whoever. They're coming in town. You got to cook them ribs. What's your process? Go.
All right. I use I do hot sauce and mustard on my ribs, just to make everything stick.
As a binder?
As my binder. And I do a lot of Fiesta brand rib seasoning, and then I'll mix it up. I'll get some, Byron's or some Hot Hog or just something else to kind of put a little heat on there. Mm-hmm. And then I'll cook them. I'm not super low and slow, but I'm fine at 250 on a rib until they start to pull off the bone. I'm going to wrap them for an hour, okay? In some butter and a little bit of brown sugar. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to pull them back out, and I'm going to really heat that grill up. And I don't like a soft, flimsy rib. I'm going to get that crispy crust on there before I take them off. Yeah, that's my deal.
There you go. Membrane on or off?
I'll leave it on. It keeps the rib together.
All right, there you go. So
that's just extra work.
That is the official recipe of Shurtleff Law Firm for ribs.
That's right.
So again, Hunter, thanks so much for coming out.
Hey man, love me some Roy May. This is great. Thanks.
I love talking. So I'm gonna give you about 15 or 30 seconds. You look in the camera, talk about anything that's important to you got coming up, or with your law firm. If you want to do a little jingle for a commercial, or whatever you want to tell me you got coming up, just look in the camera and let them know this is your time. Fire away.
Great. Well, hey, thanks for having me. I do love Roy May. If you need, really all over Texas, but Bryan College Station, you can find me at bcsattorney.com, because Shurtleff's really hard to spell. And I can help you on any kind of business or litigation matter. We'd love to talk to you. Yeah.
All right, so that is Aggie semi, if not full-blown legend, Hunter Shurtleff. And, and so again, we're wrapping up here at Cooper's Barbecue Aggie Land. So thanks so much for joining us for lunch, and we will see you for the next one.
Thank you.